Grand Rising to the morning horoscopes and the trending topics. I am Kendall Gomez. Welcome. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification button when I'm running late. And leave a comment in the comment section. And Grand Rising, everybody. So we on without any further ado, we're gonna start these morning horoscopes. I had someone come and tell me about the the one of the trending topics I touched on. I didn't touch it up. I touched on Gucci Mane and his wife's interview, and I got some people, that are in the medical field that are friends of mine, and they actually gave me their, educational stance on it. And I thought that was amazing this morning because we can agree and sometimes we can disagree, but we never have to, knock someone because of their thought process or their experiences or even their education. And I listened very intently because this lady happens to have worked in the psych um, field, and she, I can't say her name because she might not want me to, divulge that information, but she's a good friend of mine, and she just thought that the interview looked like a Robin Givens, Mike Tyson situation. And I was saying to myself, no, that is totally, I think there's some industry stuff that's really going on with the Mike Tyson situation. Like, I believe they were really trying to control if you but we gotta go, that's just my opinion, but in my viewpoint, because I was a kid, I really heard the tea, but I didn't really get into it the way I wanted to, and I did like uh Robin Givens. After that, then we used to call her Robin Give Me. And I don't have a dislike for that actress. I just don't like what she did to Mike Tyson. So because I don't know her, not to like her, but I just know that I wish it would have went different between her and Mike Tyson, but it didn't, and that's how she got that name after she sued or she divorced him and got a whole bunch of money or whatever. And it was Robin Give Me. I forgot. I gotta get to that story because I want to tell that story correct because we deal with receipts and things here. But it is what it is. Okay, so let's get started with these morning horoscopes. And you know what I'm about to start on. I'm gonna start on my sign because God told me to put me first after him. well, well, that's what they say. It should be God, you, and then everything else takes a number. So yeah. I I gave up on the dating thing, guys. I have. I'm gonna heal and deal and stick with me because I'm dealing with too many emotions, and my daily activities are being interrupted by, thoughts and depression. So I have to pick myself up. I am a military veteran that I suffer from PTSD. Sometimes I d- and something else that sends me into manic. And so I have coping mechanisms, but when I don't, I have to pick up that phone. I have to let somebody, because I get quiet in here. But I push myself and I continue to push myself. And listen, it doesn't mean that, I'm crazy because people will be like, oh, you're crazy. You're this because you may have a mental illness that you are challenged with, right? I just say that to say, um, everybody is across the bear, so we're not going to knock people, for what they, deal with in life. I deal with a lot. Some of it is apparent. Some of it is, because I take care of myself to the best of my ability. But at the same time, let's see, let's see what Cancer is saying, because I'm beginning to blabber, right? And today is the 28th. Okay. Uh, what did I do here? I'm always. Okay, here I go, guys. Whew, yeah. Oh, the morning fresh off the press. Well, it was fresh off the press about 12 midnight. I didn't read the horoscopes. Sometimes I go over my horoscope and I'll read it, but I didn't this morning. So let's go with Cancer. Okay, Cancer, as I turn up the light. Okay, so Cancer, you may feel like you are back again. That zest, that faith in the cosmos, the works, and everything else that goes with it. And I do. I really do because I got up, when depression started hitting me this morning. I said, oh, no, you won't. And I told depression, F you. And I got up and I kept it going. And this for entertainment purposes only and uh, educational purposes only. But I worked through it this morning. I got up, I did my stomach exercises, and I walked, right? However, Cancer, you also are feeling a sense of lack or stuckness. And this may be reflected in your life as financial challenges or the imbalance in health or in any other way. And there's been some imbalance in my life. That's wow. So, and this is the key thing here for you to maintain is an equilibrium in life. So make sure I get some of this in, some of that in, and pull over for the rest, right? And be it in the way you manage your funds, your relationships, your temper. You ain't seen my temper because I need my YouTube channel. Your self worth, that's another one I'm working on, right? And even your health. So focus on your community and happiness and as the foundational core of it all. And you will feel ready to welcome flow and opportunities alike. And Grand Rising and your cosmic tip, as things wound down, you must give them time and space to clear, reminding yourself time and time again the cosmos and your angels have your back, Cancer. And remember that the cosmos and the angels have your back in Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Okay, so now let's get to Aries, the Aries headquarters. And Grand Rising Aries. So keep finding your emotional anchors to keep seeding one bit at a time. And just take a moment at a time, baby. You got this. Taurus. Your fortune is turning. Gemini, when you allow your creativity and pleasures to exist without guilt, you find a way to anchor them into passion that create a lasting impact. Okay, so now we're down to Leo and Grand Rising Leo. Looking back at your life, Leo, what do you see? Do you see an imbalance, an overgiving nature? Find a balance. Find a balance and keep a balance. And Grand Rising, Virgo, supersede boredom and dejection with the probability of something wonderful conspiring. Yeah, let's see what that is. Libra, pursue your goals and unwavering determination. And Grand Rising, Scorpio, stop being taken advantage of. Rise yourself. Get out of that victim stage because you're not a victim. You have choices. We all got choices, right? Whether we deal with something or not. So just remember that. Like, take take the high road for you, not for anyone else, but for you. Definitely for you. Okay. Sagittarius is lead with your heart, but also lead along the way. Capricorn. Step beyond your comfort zone and work your way to the victory post. Keep your eye on the prize, but go beyond your comfort zone. Like, you know how you do, you're working out and you do muscle failure and all that stuff. Grand rising, Mia, grand rising, Valentina, grand rising, Aquarius. Embrace new tangible opportunities. And you got this. Everything that, you know, is parallel to what you're doing, the opportunities are going to come if you put it out into the universe, right? And Pisces, your freedom lies in your actions. Actions are everything, right? So we got to continue to push forward. Like I did this morning, I got a little depressed. Depression was setting in, and I kept moving, right? So good for me and everybody else that continued to push. Ooh, we are done with the morning horoscopes, guys. So let's get into this because I got to do a mic check. Mic check. All right. So, I was asked to watch the Gucci Mane interview to its whole totality. And I watched his wife talk about and share some of the things that they deal with Gucci Mane's mental illness. Everybody does things differently. Everybody, people, they support mental illness. Mental illness is real, right? I deal with mental illness, but I work on mine, right? I don't have the same sort of support Gucci Mane has, but I do have outside support of my home because it's just me here. But I don't have that type of support. But I do understand the dynamics of relationships. Everyone is not going to understand your relationships, right? But when I got into a little, discussion this morning about how I felt, I just have to comb my hair real quick. Pardon me, guys. But how I felt about the interview and how people are going after. I stated it. Sometimes we read into stuff so much what's supposed to be, what's not supposed to be. We're worried about what other people see. And why can't we come on here since the internet is here? People are going to talk, but do they have to be so mean? Do they have to be so rude? To come and comment. Did your mom and dad teach you how to be rude? And it's like maybe they didn't. Maybe you didn't have the same family dynamics as the next person. That's what makes each person unique in their own way. It doesn't make them wrong. And I had a healthy debate this morning. And I saw a lot that my counterpart was saying in our debate. My girl, Heidi, I have to say her name because it she feels like they shouldn't have went on. And I felt like, okay, they want to interview. She started talking about that. I think it could have been better choices of topics they could have picked on, but this may be something very important that's attached to that interview. We don't know. But let's see what happens and let's see what comes up with that. Girl, Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs. Let's get to my boy Puffy. I ain't like Puffy in the beginning, but I actually fell so hard for him because of the identification that I had, the compassion I had for Sean Combs, which really hurt me the most. Um, Him getting up and, you know, speaking publicly was so touching. I was in the courts, right? And I felt every word because you can hear a sober being. And again, people do things. They forget they do things when they're, under the influence. So why can't a celebrity do things and make mistakes as we all do, right? Do we put too much into these celebrities? that they can't be human. And I'm not saying what he did to Cassie is right. We know that's not right, right? But the point being is that, like, come on, we gotta learn to give people a break. We want people to give us a break, right? Or, or is there a whole bunch of perfect pennies behind on the other side of the screen? Because if there are, please, can I get that water that you're drinking so I can have a perfect life and a perfect everything? Or is it just gossip and everything else to be like, well, they should have did this and no, and this is why I am this, and so the egos are getting in the way. But if we really look at it, you know, Puppy is human, and I believe he's going to get this is his chance to put. God gave him a second chance, just like God. And the reason why I say that because God gave me a second chance, so why can't He give another person a second chance? God gave people in my immediate family a second chance, and they have a second chance. I don't know what they're doing with their second chance right now, but I just hope and pray that they continue to do the next right thing on their second chance, because second chance is really important to set the tone for uh whether it be you know coming out of jail, recovery. you know um it gives the person in the bird's eye view a close up look at how is this person doing this? Why are they doing this? And then they begin to become educated and understand why, what, when, where, how on people that come home from prison, people that have addictions, people that have psych. Because also, Sean Combs, another one, deals with, heavy psych meds on top of this. That was in the courts as well. And see, this is why I understand. Because in the beginning, I was like, put him under the ground. Listening to all these Jaguar Wright and all these other people that were supposed, Jonathan Odie and all these other people, right? But none of that came up in trial. So I was like, none of this stuff came up in trial. So he's not being tried for that, right? There's no evidence or anything that these people were really talking about. So my thing is now, where do we go from here with Sean Combs? And he had the blunt object put to his neck at some point while he was in the Brooklyn Detention Center for the feds, right? And it's supposed to be the worst place uh to go as far as federal prisons. And I don't even think they should have Sean Combs in there. He's a celebrity. He's big time. They should have him protected. Now the man get in his cell. Did someone let him in? Now how much say it is, or this was this staged? I'm just saying, can we talk? Sean, I'm not trying to put you under the bus, puppy. We gotta tell it like it is. We gotta see it for both sides, as I always do, right? Play the devil's advocate sometimes, but I would too. I would be in there. I'd be acting. I'd be girl just to get because being locked up is different. No, it's really different. You got to be told when to use the bathroom. You got to be told you know, when you can eat, you got to be told when you can, go shopping for your little toiletries and your extra food. So if you don't eat that food that's in the mess hall and stuff like that, or the chow hall, whatever, the dinner hall, whatever they call it now, because I forgot that I ain't been in prison for a while, right? But you got to be told basically how to move and live, right? And I just hope that he learns his lesson and he gets through this because his release date is like in May 2028. But let's go here. Let's go here. His release date is and this is from the Hollywood Reporter. Sean Diddy Combs' prison release date revealed as pardon hope slips away. And it makes me feel really bad because I believe that's for some of the stuff that he didn't get caught for. Or a song that makes me happy. The song that makes me happy is "Cause I'm Happy." I got a questionnaire up there. By Pharrell. I love that song because it's so uplifting. So I love that song by Pharrell. Happy. Um, I just was answering a question in the comments, guys. So May 8th, 2028. That's his expected release date. Maybe he'll get a program. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know any of this because I don't know the particulars. But he got to do programs when he gets out. So he'll probably work on his programs while he's in there. Because certain things are required in order for you to, yeah, move forward and stuff. So I believe he'll learn his lesson. It's not like I don't think he's so damaged that he's past uh reparations, repairing, restoring, because you can't be in recovery and say, or you can't have had something, and yes, you can't be in recovery and say he can't change, but you can. But you just through the identification of knowing you, like I've done things that I would never do when I was using drugs. Excuse me, this for entertainment purposes and educational purposes only. I've done things, I've said things that I still would do while I was, out there. But I don't do the things that sent me to jail or, do any illicit acts for money. All I do is work on my attitudes and behaviors. And that's the most important part because that's what makes change. That's what makes for a better representation of yourself, of myself, right? I don't get it all the time. I deal with these isms, mic check, mic check. Okay. I deal with my own isms and my own shortcomings that I got to work on a daily basis. But we pray people through. We pray that, Sean Combs has stopped violence. And I'm not trying to sell it for Sean Combs because he's already sentenced. But this is just my take. Since everybody's, he's still in the news, and this from CBS News. Um, so you can look all of this up, see the who's, what's, why's, how's. And until my next video, just know that you don't have to hold people to fault for the rest of their life. You can hold them accountable for the situation, but not to fault for the rest of their lives. What's wrong with people nowadays? This is such an evil, mean world that you can't make mistakes. Yes, we found out about the baby oil. Yes, we found out about his abusive ways, which a lot of us already knew, right? A lot of us already knew he had abusive ways. A lot of us already knew that Sean Combs was very powerful. I, Me and my girlfriend was talking this morning. I already knew that he had pissed a couple of people off in the higher ups. We were talking about the Ciroc ventures that he went out and then sued them, and then right after he sued them, all this stuff started happening. So I don't know. I'm not too sure, but he gotta talk. Cause I'm gonna tell you something. When Puffy talk, everybody listen. This man has talent just from talking. And we all were sitting there so attentive in the courts, listening, and some of us were crying because we knew, we identified, we felt, and I was one of them, and felt bad for Sean Combs, and it was really, really a heartbreaking and heart wrenching to see his family there and everything, and the great music that he made in his past, and that whole empire just crumbled right in front of our faces. History was made again, to destroy a whole empire. But maybe these kids might, pick that back up. Let's see what happens. Let's keep Sean Combs and I'm because he's paying for his crime. So let's stop knocking him. He's paying for his crime. And as I hear there might be other things that come up, that might have him stay behind bars forever. I don't know. Um, I guess that's from hoping, wishing, and praying. And for content, I'm not using that for content on a person's downfall because it doesn't work like that, guys. Because if you're in that situation or your child is in that situation, your other half is in that situation, family, cousin, father, mother in that situation, then you would totally understand that yes, we do the crime, we do the time, and then we vindicate our own selves through our own actions. And that's what I wanted to leave you with. And until then, in my next video, I will see you on the next one.